This program is one in a series dealing with general highway maintenance tasks. The programs are not designed to be all-inclusive, but rather to provide a reasonable and logical basis for discussion about employee safety. The user should not assume that all safety measures are indicated or that other measures may not be required. Welcome to Job Safety Analysis, a video series about your workday and your personal safety. This program will provide a general look at bridge maintenance by looking at the tasks involved in small bridge repair. And we will begin, as always, with job preparation. Although there are many tasks listed under the general JSA heading of bridge maintenance, they all involve working near the water, over the water, and in the water. Knowing that, your daily safety talk will cover such items as using electrical equipment near the water, moving material where the footing may be bad, and working in confined spaces. For both of the work sites featured, work zone traffic control was simplified, since in both cases the work zone could be closed off. But there still remains a necessity to alert the motorist to what lies ahead, provide information on any changes, so there is time for proper and safe reaction. The combination of working in rural areas and in proximity to water can bring special environmental concerns. Material, whether it's from the old structure or delivered for the new one, can quickly become home for a variety of creatures, some of whom can be quite unpleasant. Even the gentle breeze that feels so good can be a source of a problem. The same items covered in other JSA programs apply here. Working in or near heavy underbrush can provide you with encounters with poison ivy, poison oak, and stinging insects. You may have equipment operating in the area that can hit a power line, some of which can be obscured by the trees, and you can alter your environment. At certain stages in the work, you can find string lines stretched around the site, but they are not always easy to see, and they require some agility to avoid. You can try painting them to make them more visible, or do what they do in the garage. Use brightly colored tape to help workers see the hazard. To help handle the hazards of the environment and of the job, you have your personal protective equipment. The nature of the work may not provide you with the most secure and safe footing. Rubber boots help to keep your feet dry, as well as to give you traction if you are climbing up or down, or moving material. Gloves come in handy, and especially for preventing splinters. But gloves are not enough. Safety glasses are a good idea, but don't add one personal protective equipment and take away one. Hard hats are not always appreciated, but on occasion they come in very handy. Closed-off work areas, as in this program, help keep equipment movement to a minimum, but there is always some movement. Remember, a vehicle doesn't have to be moving to present a hazard. This section of the JSA also includes the use of power tools and hand tools, like the hammer. The forms are temporary, so the nails are left raised for easy removal. Good place to catch fingers. Why not gloves? Proper use includes the big hammers, too. Hammering can cause airborne debris, as can using power equipment. And don't forget, working in and around water can give you a nasty reminder of how well it conducts electricity. Use the equipment with respect. Improper use or handling can hurt you or someone else. That nail gun, power saws, impact wrenches demand and deserve care and operation. Back injuries are still one of the leading entries on the work-related disability list. When it comes to moving something heavy, everyone seems to cooperate. Heavy things or things that are just difficult to move for one person. But materials handling also includes stretching, reaching, getting yourself out of position and into a position where you can strain your back. Lift with your legs and arms, not your back. Hazardous materials may not be as evident on this job as on others, but you still have such items as gasoline, and the sealant materials used come with a label. Just as you protect yourself, protect the environment. Bridge maintenance assignments can cover many days' time. It's important the site be left as safe as possible to avoid confusion for motorists. And, where possible, tools and equipment taken with you to discourage vandalism. The safety netting, sign replacement, and general appearance all indicate a well cared for work site. Do you remember our 8 parts of the workday? Always consider where you are going to be working. Even though the site is closed to traffic, good work zone safety rules are still in effect. Remember the environment you are working in. Your personal protective equipment is protection and comfort, like dry feet. Your concern about vehicle movement must last the entire day. Be sure of your footing when you are lifting. Off-balance strains can result in injury. You don't leave litter behind, but others may have. Be careful of what you find out there. Take a moment at the end of the day to mention any special needs for the next workday. Remember, safety habits are formed by example, not just by advice. The producers of this program wish to thank the maintenance employees of Dauphin and Cumberland counties. This program is one in a series dealing with general highway maintenance tasks. The programs are not designed to be all-inclusive, but rather to provide a reasonable and logical basis for discussion about employee safety. The user should not assume that all safety measures are indicated or that other measures may not be required. Welcome to Job Safety Analysis, a video series about your workday and your personal safety. This program will provide a general look at the removal of cable guide rail, and we will begin, as always, with job preparation. There are still extensive sections of cable guide rail on the state system, primarily on secondary roads. Removing cable guide rail is not an everyday task, so you should give some special consideration to your job preparation. While the foreman will ensure a first aid kit, water, and a fire extinguisher are available, you must do your part. You know you are going to be working on a secondary road, handling old, perhaps rusted, cable and wooden posts. All of this in underbrush. Gloves, boots, and long-sleeve shirts are strongly recommended. You know you have to set up your work zone in accordance with Publication 203. But remember, the publication outlines the minimum. You may have to add items because of where you are. And don't forget about the sun. The flagger is having difficulty seeing oncoming traffic. Could you have set up the work zone differently? Along with everything else to consider, nature can play a part in your workday. This dense undergrowth can be home to many things. Poison ivy and poison oak are very common in the Northeast and easily recognized. Watch where you are walking. Use a prevention barrier solution before exposure. If exposed, use a decontamination solution at the end of the day. If you become infected, there is a treatment solution in the first aid kit. There could be stinging insects in the undergrowth or in nearby trees or in the old posts. And nature isn't the only contributor to the hazards. There could be a pipeline or a power line here. And don't forget the overhead power lines. Watch the height of truck beds or loader buckets. And all that talk about the environment and its hazards gets us to personal protective equipment. Using the metal saw to cut the cable requires the use of a face shield. We have already mentioned that long sleeves, gloves, and boots are strongly recommended. Keep your personal protective equipment with you. You may not have an awful lot of equipment out on this job, but then you don't have an awful lot of room. Don't reduce your available work area by poor parking, and don't add to the equipment operator's problems by distracting discussions. Keeping equipment movement to the necessary minimum helps maintain good traffic flow through the work area. The next area is titled Material Handling, and as you may suspect, it deals with lifting. Lifting those old posts exposes you to splinters and can put an unnecessary strain on your back. If you have the equipment available, use it. If you have to lift manually, get some help. The wooden posts were originally treated with creosote as a preservative. To be effective as a preservative, the creosote must be toxic to the intended targets, fungi or insects. That toxic feature can, at much higher levels, be a hazard to humans. If you get creosote on your exposed skin, wash with an antibacterial soap. Once again, gloves and long-sleeve shirts should be worn for this type of work. Remember the trouble the flagger had seeing into the sun? Think about that as you get ready to drive home. Do you remember our 8 parts of the workday? Think about the conditions you are going to be working with before going out to the job site. Flagging on rural roads usually means reduced sight distance. Make your signals clear to the motorist and to the crew. We just had a hard winter. Those power lines may have sagged a little. You may not think of long sleeves as personal protective equipment, but the insects do. With a confined work area, equipment movement should be kept to a minimum. And use that equipment when you can. Save your back. Those old posts can contain debris from insect infestation. Wear your gloves. Wash if your exposed skin comes in contact with the material. You practice good safety at the site. Don't forget about it now. Remember, safety is taught by example, not just by advice. The producers of this program wish to thank the employees of Dauphin County. This program is one in a series dealing with general highway maintenance tasks. The programs are not designed to be all-inclusive, but rather to provide a reasonable and logical basis for discussion about employee safety. The user should not assume that all safety measures are indicated or that other measures may not be required. Welcome to Job Safety Analysis, a video series about your workday and your personal safety. This program will provide a general look at pothole patching. And we will begin, as always, with job preparation. Pothole repair is a familiar maintenance task involving different types of roadway, but always working in close proximity to traffic. Those two items should be part of your job preparation. Your daily safety talk covers such items as proper attire, access to a fire extinguisher, the first aid kit, and fresh water. Who is to direct the movement of the equipment? How do you plan to rotate the flagging duties? Are among the items to cover. It's your safety. If you don't understand something, ask. Your defense line out on the highway is your work zone traffic control, and its effectiveness can vary from road type to road type. What works well one place may not work as well elsewhere. Remember, your publication 203 outlines the minimum you can adjust for different situations. Here, the work zone is set up on an interstate highway. Good light, plenty of sight distance, and a lot of fast-moving traffic. The motorists have to be advised well in advance to have time to react. That's true no matter what type of road you're working on. And even with that early notice, you'll be constantly asking for lower speeds. Here, the work is in progress on a major arterial. And look how dark it is within the overpass. A lack of light, along with the motorist perception that the road is narrowed, and you can have a very dangerous situation. Again, that early warning, properly placed signs, the arrow board, and the shadow vehicle are your line of defense. Even out in the peaceful countryside, you can have problems. There are motorists who come to a complete stop, those who barely stop, and those for whom stopping seems to be a personal insult. Be alert. If you are flagging, make your signals clear and understandable. Remember, it's not only the motorists you are protecting, it's your co-workers. While you cannot control the weather, you can be aware of other things that affect your environment. Rural roads and power lines go together. Check their location and height before the equipment goes into operation. Working in different areas can be a hazard. Rural roads with light traffic may give you a false sense of security. Out here, you know how dangerous it is. Keep your concentration regardless of the road type. Traffic is still within 24 inches. Every work zone is designed to provide you the safest possible work environment. Make yours work for you. The work zone signs are needed for the motorist to recognize the work zone. Your personal protective equipment helps you to be recognized by the motorist, as well as to provide you a measure of personal safety. If not to prevent the injury, certainly to lessen the impact. Safety, recognition, two very good reasons to use your personal protective equipment. You may not have a lot of equipment out on the job, but with the noise, lack of space, and periodic movement, it may seem as if you are surrounded. All the more reason to designate one person to direct equipment movement. And when you are operating equipment, always remember where you are in relation to the traffic. This section of the job safety analysis also includes the proper use of hand tools. The following sequence was not staged for the television camera. Just that easy to do. Use the tool designed for the job. This is the section of the JSA that talks about lifting, raking, shoveling. Any activity that can, if done improperly, put a strain on your back. Proper use of hand tools includes not overreaching. If you have a choice, don't stretch. Move to the material. Remember, even a shovel full of material at a time, you are going to be moving an awful lot of material in a day. While all pothole patching operations involve the use of bituminous materials, the manner of delivery and the storage method can vary. Auxiliary heating units with propane bottles must be treated with respect. Different pieces of equipment require liquid or vapor cylinders. Use what the equipment calls for. Asphalt material is delivered at temperatures over 200 degrees Fahrenheit, so gloves are a necessity, and, where possible, avoid breathing the fumes. Everyone has put in a full day, working very near moving traffic. Now you have to drive in it. Be alert. Do you remember our 8 parts of the workday? Come to work ready, with your attention focused on your job and your surroundings. Your work zone must be chosen correctly and maintained properly. Rotate flagging duties to help maintain alertness. Remember, different seasons bring different problems. Warm weather brings exposure to heat exhaustion. Colder weather, the risk of excessive loss of body heat. Wherever you are going to be working, these are provided for your protection. Use them. Notice the truck proceeds to the end of the coned area. No reduction in visibility for the motorists or the workers. Safety and courtesy. With adequate ventilation, these materials are safe to be around. Just remember, the asphalt is hot. Properly selected and mounted, these should not be a problem, but be sure the cylinder type matches the sign. The end of your workday is the evening rush hour. Take your safety home with you. Remember, safety habits are formed by example, not just by advice. The producers of this program wish to thank the employees of Dauphin and York counties. This program is one in a series dealing with general highway maintenance tasks. The programs are not designed to be all-inclusive, but rather to provide a reasonable and logical basis for discussion about employee safety. The user should not assume that all safety measures are indicated or that other measures may not be required. Welcome to Job Safety Analysis, a video series about your workday and your personal safety. This program will provide a general look at crack and joint sealing. The department has, for the most part, replaced the older gasoline propane-fired tar kettles with the new diesel-powered asphalt melters. The 2 models in current use, the Craftco Easy Pour and the Falcon Crack Pro, have their pre-operational, startup, and operating procedures covered in the New on the Scene video series. since the gasoline propane units are being phased out, the equipment featured in this program will be the diesel-powered units. We will begin our job safety analysis with job preparation. There are a few important things to check before you move the asphalt melter. Check the tires for proper inflation, the wheel lugs for tightness, and the towing hitch for cracks or bent members. Check the electrical connector for chafing or cracks. Be certain you have plenty of drinking water and a first aid kit. Your unit comes with 2 fire extinguishers. Are they fully charged? Know where you are going to be working. Crack and joint sealing in different locations requires different work zone traffic control setups, and all locations expose you to danger. The key to good work zone control is the flagger. But to be effective, the flagger must be highly visible and not blend in with the equipment. The flagger must be in an area where he or she can see the traffic and the work area. Occasionally, you might get some unexpected help from a motorist. Notice the truck turns on the 4-ways approaching the work zone. Be alert and be sure when you signal for traffic to move, you are ready for it to move. Crack and joint sealing is a slow-moving operation. To keep proper distance and to maintain the required clear zone, have the flagger come last to monitor the spacing required. Again, depending upon your location, your environmental concerns may vary, but some things never change. You will be working in close proximity to traffic, working with very hot liquid and airborne debris. All the more reason to have and to use your personal protective equipment, from the boots to the gloves to the nylon coveralls designed to protect your clothing from the liquid asphalt. The addition of a welder's apron provides added protection, but the short-sleeve shirt does little for protecting the arms. The face shield protects you from flying debris, but it is not all that wide. Keep your face pointed to your work. And the face shield is a must when you are loading material into the melter. Just keep in mind the hazards around you and the temperature of the material you are working with, and the use of your personal protective equipment becomes common sense. This section of the job safety analysis deals with, among other things, vehicle movement. You will have quite a bit of equipment in a confined area. When the truck towing the melter is to move, it does so under the direction of one assigned person. Along with controlling the truck's movement, that person also has the responsibility to be positioned where the truck driver can see the signals clearly, and the truck driver must remember to drive defensively. The truck is towing many gallons of diesel fuel as well as a significant amount of liquid sealant at a high temperature. The operator blowing out the cracks must keep the pipe pointed down to the surface. Kept at a proper angle, the air pressure will blow the debris out, lessen the bouncing of the material, as well as keeping the debris from becoming airborne. In this section of the job safety analysis, we will concern ourselves with lifting. Normally, the solid block sealant is carried in the truck towing the asphalt melter. It must be lifted from the bed of the truck, passed over the tailgate, and placed on the ledge. Then the operator must carry the material to the melter. The operator stops the agitator by moving the lever to the neutral position, lifts the tank lid, places the material on the lid, and closes the lid, allowing the material into the tank, and restarts the agitator. Remember, the blocks are fairly heavy, so keep the lifting to a minimum. The conversion to solid block sealant has lessened your exposure to hazardous materials. Nevertheless, the blocks, when heated, have dangerous fumes. Avoid breathing them in. Using the material on the roadway presents no problem, as the natural movement of air will dissipate the fumes. However, it is a good practice to rotate duty so as to lessen the rate of exposure. The combination of working with heated materials in a controlled area, near traffic, and in the sun can really tire you out. You spent the day working as a team. Use that same teamwork as you prepare to return to the garage. Do you remember our 8 parts of the workday? Good job preparation contributes to good job operation. Remember, when flagging, to position yourself where you are clearly visible to the motorist and everybody concerns themselves with the integrity of the work zone. Don't overlook a common hazard. Watch the height of the truck bed. Besides your personal protective equipment, use what the vehicles have. If the flagger can't move, maybe you can move your equipment to improve the flagger's visibility. Lift properly, using your arm and leg muscles, not your back. Although much easier to use, the block material still emits dangerous fumes. And at the end of the day, remember you're traveling on a busy highway. For further information on the operation of the Craftco Easy Pour or Falcon Crack Pro Asphalt Melter, ask for AV1488 or AV1489. Remember, safety habits are formed by example, not just by advice. The producers of this program wish to thank the maintenance employees of Dauphin County. This program is one in a series dealing with general highway maintenance tasks. The programs are not designed to be all-inclusive, but rather to provide a reasonable and logical basis for discussion about employee safety. The user should not assume that all safety measures are indicated or that other measures may not be required. Welcome to Job Safety Analysis, a video series about your workday and your personal safety. This program will provide a general look at sign maintenance. Signing operations are a year-round activity, so job preparation can vary. But whatever the season or the location, you will need a supply of fresh water. Avoid the use of local springs or streams as a source for drinking water. As a precaution, you must carry a first aid kit, and the truck must have a fully charged fire extinguisher. The signing crew is responsible for a very large area and can travel many miles in a single day. So you should know the location of the medical facility nearest to where you are going to be working, as well as how to contact either the police or an ambulance in the event of an emergency. Along with knowing the general area in which you are going to be working, it helps to know the specific area. Interchanges, interstates, ramps, major arteries, rural roads, all have different characteristics and require different job preparation. Knowing where you are going to be working helps you to plan for your work day, which brings us to the subject of work zone safety. In some cases, you can position the vehicles off the travel way, even well off the travel way. However, some rural roads are narrow and the space between the edge of pavement and the sign is only a few feet. Even if you plan to be at this spot for only a few moments of work, use your traffic control devices. Traffic is still out there. Use the brightness of your vehicles to call the motorist's attention to your presence, because some of the places you have to be don't have a lot of room. Remember, the first rule of being safe is to be seen. Since sign crews travel year-long and county-wide, they get a chance to be exposed to everything. The things that nature provides, as well as what people leave behind. In the summertime, there is the presence of poison ivy, and there is a lot of it in this part of the country. If you are exposed to poison ivy or to poison oak, use a decontamination solution at the end of the day. If you become infected, there is a treatment solution in the first aid kit. There could be stinging insects in the trees or undergrowth, as well as larger neighborhood creatures. And this larger neighborhood creature, with the friendly reputation, is the major carrier of the deer tick, the transmitter of Lyme disease. All employees who work in or around a wooded area or thick vegetation should wear protective clothing, pants without cuffs or tucked into boots. Use an insect repellent applied to exposed areas of the body, as well as around cuffs and collars. Upon leaving the work area, check thoroughly for ticks on your clothing and body, and if a deer tick is found on your person, your supervisor should be notified, and as a precaution, seek medical attention. You could encounter a pipeline or a power line. And don't ever forget where you are in relation to overhead power lines. In the winter, there is the danger of frostbite. In the summer, heat exhaustion and sunburn. Give your environment the respect it deserves. Year-round job, varying environment, make your use of the personal protective equipment something you may adjust with the location or the outside temperatures. But the hard hat, vest or blaze orange shirt, gloves, and good sturdy shoes are for all seasons. The safety cage allows you access to the sign. The belt ensures you stay with the cage. Operating the post pounder can be tough on your hands, and not just your hands can suffer. Hearing protection is a must when you are this close to running machinery. You have the personal protective equipment, use it. Sign crews tend to be self-contained units, taking with them all that they need, like the generator and the power and hand tools, all carried in the crew vehicles that are positioned at the work site. The sign truck has stabilizers designed to provide firm support for the aerial cage, and the cage needs firm support. This stabilizer leg could shift from this barrier face. If you think the stabilizers are improperly set, look. Don't walk between the truck and the barrier. If the truck should shift, you're in trouble. Always check your power tools before the day's work, because you will need to use hand tools until a broken power tool is fixed. Because it seems easier to tighten bolts without gloves, we acquire a lot of cuts and nicks on the hands. At least make sure there are no burrs. Powered equipment should be operated by experienced personnel. Sometimes the soil type will require the addition of a third person to maintain stability. The same procedure works when the posts are being removed. Taking time and exercising care go a long way in preventing accidents. Routine activities in sign work, removing and installing, require you to stretch, lift, and carry. And if what you have to carry appears to be heavy, get some help. Hazardous materials normally consist of what you find out there. Treat any unidentified or unidentifiable litter as dangerous. Don't handle without gloves, and let your supervisor know if you encounter things like this. Those general precautions, plus others we have covered, should see you safely to the end of your workday. Just remember, The traffic you put up with all day is still out there. Take the time to get to the yard and to your home safely. Do you remember our 8 parts of the workday? Successful job preparation and operation is best accomplished when you actively work as a team, even when you must work in areas very near traffic. That cooling breeze can carry a lot of dust and roadside debris. That could be an argument for safety glasses. Just as the rust on this old sign support is a good argument for the use of gloves. The operator waits until the cage is safely on the ground, unhooks the safety belt, and exits backwards, just like getting out of a truck, maintaining that 3-point contact. Rather than lifting everything, sometimes you can find a handy place to hold the post. Watch where you are walking and what you might step on. The end of a long workday can make you careless. Notice the worker starts to get up into the truck bed while the cage is still raised. Always try to watch out for each other. Remember, safety habits are formed by example, not just by advice. The producers of this program wish to thank the maintenance employees of Dauphin County.